Everyone, we've got to talk about Vanguard Zombies, okay? We have to talk about this. Now, I'm going to tell you some top secret information here, and that is that Vanguard Zombies hasn't performed very well with the community. I know, very shocking information, but all sarcasm aside, there is a good reason for this, and this is going to be one of those videos where I'm not trying to be unfairly negative, but I'm not just going to hold back on this because I think it's just good to kind of voice my opinion about this. And I'm not saying that I have any influence over the next COD game or anything like that, but I just think it would be good to voice my own opinions, even if they are the same as quite a few other people who have already spoke about this kind of stuff, because the more the whole community talks about this, the more likely that Activision might tell Treyarch to take zombies in a different direction, one that hopefully is positive. And I also think that the community saying enough is going to contribute towards more better changes implemented into Vanguard Zombies, because what we have right now, it just isn't really acceptable. And I'm not saying this with a rage buried deep inside of me like a Sith Lord. What I'm saying is, it just isn't good enough. And I went into Vanguard with low standards, but wow, I just don't really know how we got here. From Cold War to this, and I didn't even like Cold War Zombies that much when it launched, but the more I played it, the more it grew on me. And I've got to be honest, it grew on me quicker than I expected. And any of you that are watching this and you have some opinions on Vanguard, talk about it below, vent about it. It's been a very strange time for zombies right now. I did a video reflecting on the past year of COD Zombies, which has been Cold War. I'll link it in an iCard if you want to watch that, and it's like a 20-minute long video just talking about all the new changes, the bad stuff, the good stuff, the ugly, all of it. And to be honest, looking back at it like that, it puts a lot into perspective for Vanguard, because we can't just not compare the two. It's by the same developers. Not that I'm blaming the developers here, because Activision have a very tight hold over Treyarch in what they do, with all the time constraints and everything like that, and them having to help other COD studios, but they are also in the same franchise. If I was comparing this to, like, let's say Halo, for example, it wouldn't be a fair comparison, because the only thing they really have in common is that they're FPS games. Whereas comparing Vanguard to Cold War, when not only are they in the same franchise, but are literally a year apart from one another, puts things in a little more perspective. I would say it's very much fair to compare the two, and when you look at them side by side, it's very obvious that Vanguard is a watered down version of Cold War Zombies, and I don't think anyone can deny that. It seems like we have a few things that are really good and worked well in Cold War taken over, such as the field upgrades, and then the rest of it, all of that progress in a year, and with how far the game has come, it was all just left behind, not built upon, not improved, not anything. They took like 4 field upgrades from Cold War and then just left the rest of it. No upgrade system, just nothing. It's like if you had a greenhouse and you were growing crops in it. The reason you're growing them is because there is a upcoming competition on who has the biggest crops, okay? The biggest crops, not anything else. And you have this huge watermelon, right? Just in your greenhouse, that will be the winner. But then for some reason, instead of taking the whole watermelon, you just cut a slice of it off and take it there, and everyone is disappointed. So why didn't they bring the rest of the watermelon? In other terms, why didn't they bring the rest of the content from Cold War? Change it in a different way, sure, or even improve it, but I just don't know why they left so much behind. The only explanation we really have is that Treyarch is just the ultimate goat for zombies, and so if Sledgehammer tried doing zombies again, it just wouldn't have worked, most likely. As sad as it is to say that, because Sledgehammer have always tried something new, it just wouldn't have resonated well with the community. I don't think there's any denying that. Treyarch are just simply the best at that kind of craft, and so what's most likely happened is that Activision got Treyarch to quickly finish up the rest of the Cold War content and then focus on Vanguard Zombies, or this could have been happening simultaneously, which, as you can imagine, that's just a lot of workload. So my sympathies go out for Treyarch. They are a very passionate dev team, and we have for sure seen examples of that in the past. I think Treyarch just found themselves in a very unfortunate position where, because they didn't have much time to work on Vanguard, they didn't get to let the game live up to its full potential, or at least have a good launch. So just keep all of that in mind, because I'm gonna talk about some things that are just seriously wrong with the game, because this isn't me being inherently negative. I'm just trying to give some very very fair criticism and just voice my concerns about Vanguard Zombies overall. And with enough voices raised, Vanguard may be able to climb itself out of this grave, and we may be able to see this huge anime redemption arc right before our eyes, but that's the ideal outcome. I'm going to address this one first because of just how important it is to not only what Zombies is, but just to the rest of the other things I'll list here. This huge problem is that there is no content. I have really been trying to make videos on Vanguard Zombies. I've even got a shotgun loadout guide I've been trying to do for a while, but I've just been needing to level up the shotgun, but now I just need to make the video. But other than that, I don't really know what content there is to make. There's no side Easter eggs, no main Easter egg yet, and that's not going to be coming out for a while. The story isn't really going anywhere right now, despite the 4 gods that can talk to you, and the dialogue is just so repetitive from those characters, it gets exhausting to hear. And so now whenever I hear it, my brain just kind of switches off, and that's sad because I'm a huge story guy. I love the zombie story, and I've heard a lot of people say this one, and I just thoroughly agree. Once you get to round 15, you've most likely done everything the game has to offer. You'll have fully upgraded tier 4 perks, you'll have pack-a-punched, done all of the objectives, explored all the parts of the map most likely, especially considering it's not very big, and then that's it. That's all of the content the game has to offer, and for zombies, that is just really bizarre. And whilst we're talking about the map, I just want to quickly throw this one in there. Shinonuma, I love that Shinonuma is in it, but why can we not use the flogger? Why would they have it right there and not let us use it? It's the most iconic trap in zombies. I just don't know why we don't have access to that. I also find that the maps look way too dark and bland, and I just wish it had some of that Cold War colour thrown into it, and that Black Ops 3 colour that could still make maps feel gritty when they needed to be, but it was just way more pleasing to look at. It feels as though that the life of zombies, the personality of zombies is just getting sucked out more and more. Not even a pack-a-punch camo. Pap camos are only cosmetic, sure, but at the same time, they show that your gun is changing. You want your gun to feel like it's actually gone into this sci-fi machine and has been infused with some dark ether 115 stuff, and it's came out looking totally different, and in turn it feels different as well, showing that the gun is more powerful. I'd rather have them just copy pasted one from Cold War, to be honest, than not have one at all. I think the only things to do is just try your luck with high rounds, because you might get disconnected since, you know, you're on a dedicated server on solo, meaning you can't pause the game. That is a basic feature that is so wrong that is not in the game. And I am aware that Treyarch have said they're going to patch it into the game, but I just still don't know how you don't have a pause in a game. Like, that is such a basic thing. If you're AFK for, I think it's 2 to 3 minutes, you're gone. Your whole progress in your game, you got to start all over again because you just got kicked for inactivity. How did we get to this point? We got to give a big F to everyone's bladder, because they're not going to be able to have the chance to empty it anytime soon. No pausing and getting kicked for inactivity, especially when you're solo, but in a co-op game as well. I don't know, it's just really strange. The other thing there is to do is the camo grind. Can I just say, there are so many camos and the challenges are so long. I do not know how there's people that have finished it. But challenges aside, I know there's people that really enjoy that grind, and I thought I would have until I looked at them and saw this huge list. But that's just a minor thing, because I know there's people that enjoy that. The worst part is the camos just are not worth it. I don't really know what happened to the dark ether camo. It's green and black, and it's called dark ether. There was a red one that was leaked, and that should have been it, to be honest. And with the occultism theme of the game and how, you know, there's just this red in a lot of places, the zombies' eyes are red, the occult symbols are red, why would they not have had a red dark ether camo? To be honest, it was a huge missed opportunity there, and I think for a lot of people it's made the camo grind not that worth it. And other than those two things, that's all there is to do. This is extremely repetitive gameplay as well. To me, it doesn't help that there is so much loading in between it, which didn't bug me at first. I was thinking, okay, you gotta travel through the portal to get to the objective. But when I teleport in the room right next to the portal and there's a loading screen that's absurdly long, it baffles me that there's so much loading. I mean, you load into the objective, you survive there for 2 minutes, for example, say if you're doing blitz, and then you go back and you teleport teleport back, and you have to keep teleporting. And it's something that, like I said, it didn't bother me so much at first, but the more I played the game, the more noticeable it got. I'm like, oh god, I've got to load into this again. But it's really comical just how much loading there actually is. I've heard many people say that the operators this year are better than the ones in Cold War, and to be honest, I don't think there's much difference. Oh wait, there is. These characters say one sentence instead of just 2 words. Sure, they're a little bit more lively, but sometimes it gets really annoying to hear. It's the repetitive dialogue thing again. The amount of times I have heard the exact same dialogue mere minutes between each other is insane. And once again, my brain just kind of blanks off when I hear it. I've heard it that much. If people are going to be paying money for them, at least give them better quotes. And I think my final issue with Vanguard Zombies that I can think of is that there was just a huge missed opportunity with what they were doing with the Covenant system. And if you don't know what this is basically the boon system. Take Hades, for example. As you're going through Tartarus at the beginning of your run, there's gods that give you different boons, and these are basically little abilities. Think of them as mini perks, and that's what the Covenant system would try and do, such as return 2 bullets to your magazine when you get a critical hit, and that's a really good boon, by the way, but there's just not enough of them. 2 of them are ammo mods, which are cryo freeze and brain rot, so it only really leaves you with a handful of these covenants that could have been really good, because it felt like they were trying to tap more into the roguelike side of the game, because Zombies isn't a roguelite, but it has the elements there. You start from pretty much nothing, and then you have all these perks and abilities and powerful weapons, and then if you die, you lose it all and you have to start again. It really felt like they were trying to tap into that roguelite element a bit more. They dipped their toe in and then they just kept it there. They didn't really lean into it. And that's a real shame to see, to be honest. I just hope we get more covenants and a more interesting way to just shake them up a bit, because there's really not many, and like I said, it's just a shame they didn't tap into that roguelite a little more. I think people would have preferred that over this weird objective-based gameplay that feels really pointless. But in conclusion, COD Vanguard right now is in a very bad state. There's no content to make for content creators, there's not enough content to just play through in general, and there's a lot of issues that really need to be ironed out, but if it's done, then maybe there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And I just really hope that a lot of the stuff from Cold War that is missing in here isn't added back as new features in the later seasons. That is really gonna suck if that is the case. But anyways, I'm gonna leave this video here today. I'm sorry this was very unstructured and just kind of, it felt rambly, but I did want to give the criticism. I think everyone should be talking about this. But be respectful to the devs though. If you've made it this far and you agree with what I said, be sure to smash the like button. Comment your thoughts on COD Vanguard Zombies down below. If you need to vent about this game, just get it all out of your system. Tell me what you think would improve the game. And only a very small percentage of people are even subscribed to the channel, so if you've made it this far, subscribe, you won't regret it. Turn on the notification bell too to stay notified whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.